And welcome to the show. What is good, everybody? We missed last week, but we're back this week. We've got a Dynasty Startup Mock Draft Superflex that's about to be happening in about 15 minutes. But what's good, everybody? What do we got going on? We got CD complaining. What's happening with that now? He gonna hold out? I mean, they got to give him the contract. They got no choice. But they waited too long. I mean, now you got to pay him like JJ money at this point. We do have one more spot left in the mock. I've got the link in the chat, so hop in if you want to hop in. There's one spot left. Chaotic, what's up? But yeah, apparently Ayuk wants to stay at 49er, but at what point do you just let it go? Like, how much are you willing to pay this guy? Like, you still got so many other guys to pay. Are you giving Ayuk really 30 mil? Like, does he deserve more than Amon-Ra? No. Could he be like, I mean, I guess you can argue that, but Derek, what up, Derek? But what are they doing? Are they keeping Ayuk and Debo for the foreseeable future? Like, one's got to go sooner or later, whether it's this year or next year. There's talks about CD, there's talks about Dak. Like, are they paying these guys? What are we doing there? Tua didn't get the contract, so what's happening with Tua? I thought Tua would get the contract, going into this season, but we'll see what happens. Philip gifted a membership. What up, Philip? Appreciate you, Philip. But yeah, there's one more spot, so somebody hop in. Somebody take the spot, the last spot. Link is in the chat. And we are going to mock Superflex, offense only, 1.5 tight end premium. Right now in the offseason, if there's not, trades going on in your leagues, there's a bunch of other leagues that are happening. A bunch of startups that's happening. So all right, cool, Derek. Yeah, appreciate you. Somebody hop in. Philip giving another membership. Damn, Philip, you the man. Philip, you the man. But yeah, still one spot left. The link is in the chat, so somebody hop in. And we're going to start in about 10 minutes. So 10:15 Eastern we'll start. And we will once it's full, we will randomize it too. So but yeah, what happens to CD? What if it doesn't make sense how they wouldn't sign Dak and CD, right? Is there really a possibility that Dak or CD, one of these guys, don't get signed? Like, I don't think so. Another one, Philip. Philip, you the man. Philip gifting out memberships here. Is it full? Maybe. Let's refresh. Maybe you're right, JC. Maybe you right. No. No, not full yet. Hop in, JC, if you want to hop in. Need to sign both. Yeah, I mean, why not? You went cheap at the RB position, right? You didn't really go out and get anybody. You've got to pay those two guys. Like, yes, like Dak hasn't succeeded in the playoffs, but I mean, who are you going out there to get that's better? Like he's giving you the best chance to win offensively, at least. Like there's just no way. I like Dak too. I think people were hating on Dak, like he got injured. Let's pull up Dak. Where's he at? 30 years old. I mean, for a quarterback, that's not necessarily old. Like these guys are playing for a while. But I mean, when he hasn't been injured, like he's been a top 10 guy, like pretty consistently. 2018 he dropped to 14, but any of the other years that he hasn't finished top 10, he was hurt. He's good. He's locked in for 30 plus tutties for sure. 4,500 yards, 30 tutties. He's going to be in that range. And he's throwing the ball now more than really he has. Almost 600 attempts. Yeah, Derek. I know that's your squad, but all right, there we go. Now we're full. Zach filled it up there. Let's randomize it, and I get the 111. So what are we doing at the back end? It is the third round reversal. I think most Superflex leagues are third round reversal. If it's not, it should be. It just kind of evens out the playing field a little bit more than just having like the top picks kind of be able to draft in the top, 3 in the top 25. Emil, what up, Emil? What's good, brother? All good, Derek. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, I mean, if everyone's in here, oh, Darth gets 112. Raider Rob up at the 1-2. But yeah, I mean, what's the plan now going into some of these mocks, right? This is the chance, this is your opportunity to kind of play around with different kind of strategies, right? What do you want to try and do differently? Like, see how your team turns out. Do you like it? Do you not like it? I in a third round reversal, like I like being in the back end. Like even if I have like a top 4 or 5 pick, like can I move back? Obviously, this is a mock, so it's not a like real life situation where you might have a chance to move back. But can you move back to get into the back end of the first round instead? With the third round reversal, like you have a chance to kind of get there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can wait on QB, you can snag the QBs early. There's a couple different ways you can play it. So we'll see who's available at the 111 there. And Raider Rob said it's 116 degrees in Arizona right now. Damn. That's wild. Zach said he's at, yeah, you're at the one, where are you? Yeah, you're at the 1-6 now that we randomized that bad boy. Yeah, hit the thumbs up. Appreciate you, Derek. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. To get in these mocks, we have the Discord and Instagram as well. I send it out there and then pretty much let it fill up until we get live. So if you get on early, there was a spot earlier, but yeah, what do we do now? What do we do in the back end? What do you do in the middle? Like, how high do you want to draft a CD or a Justin Jefferson, right? Right now in this particular season. Typically, it's around like the 1-6. Could you make the argument to go a little bit higher? Or is there just some good quarterbacks and not so great situations like with JJ? Chase has been injured, hasn't really produced how we want him to, where you just want to take the safety in the quarterback. Like, when is it time for you to pivot? Which quarterback is it? When you're up, where you're just like, okay, I'll pivot to the wide receiver at this point. I mean, there are some QBs that are dropping. Like, more people are waiting on QBs now, or taking the one QB and then kind of waiting on their second QB. Albert, what up, Albert? No, Dynasty. What's good, Albert? You got to hop in one of these with us one of these days. But yeah, we're about ready to go in 3 minutes. We'll start this thing up. Joe Burrow's been dropping. Right? When do you take Caleb? Like, when is the time to take Caleb? Are you taking him over Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love? Like, I think Jordan Love's being a little bit underrated right now. Herbert, Kyler, Jaden Daniels. I mean, Trevor got the contract, right? Tua did not, so he's fallen. Marty, what up, Marty? What's good, Marty? Let the draft come to me. If a second grade QB falls to me, I'll take the second QB. If not, then I got best available. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you want to go best player available. But we know how hard it is to get like two, or to have two really good QBs. Like, how hard is it to buy a quarterback? Especially during the season, right? You're paying an arm and a leg to get a quarterback during the season. So do we finally see, that step up from Trevor that we want to see? Now with Brian Thomas, I mean, hopefully they can connect on some of those deep balls. Like, there was a lot of Ridley plays where they just weren't able to, or Ridley just wasn't able to come down to it. And I think that could change with Brian Thomas a little bit. Yeah, people have been letting QBs fall this year for sure. That's what I've seen so far, as well as quarterbacks have been falling. The wide receivers are moving up and up, right? Quarterbacks are falling down. And should it be that way? No, I mean, obviously it depends on the settings, right? In all of my leagues, I think except for one, it's all like 6 point per passing touchdown, which I like a lot better than 4 point passing touchdown, especially nowadays. But the 4 point, I mean, yeah, that could matter as well. If you're playing 10 team or 12 team, that matters also, right? 10 team, the quarterback is not as important because there's just so many quarterbacks that are just available. So everybody's got quarterbacks. So, there's not as much of a demand, for the quarterbacks. Sure, wow. All right, so we about to start this up. Hurts at the 1-6, yeah, because sometimes people don't want the rushing quarterback. They're waiting, or they're taking, the pocket passers, leaving Hurts or leaving Lamar. Dak was there for Dak has been going really late. A lot of the quarterbacks have been going late. And then especially when you think about it, like with all the other quarterbacks, like Dak is like what, QB 14, 15, something like that on keep trade cut. Like Jared Goff is QB like 17. There's a lot of like QBs in that area that are kind of just like in a tier over there. You know, they're all going to throw for, 30 plus tutties, 4,500-ish yards. If everything goes right, of course. But all right, so Josh Allen, CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, the first three that come off the board, pretty standard-ish in somewhat order. Those are the guys coming off. Jalen Hurts comes off after that. Let's see what Mook goes here. Like, when are we going to see the wide receiver off the board, right? When is CD going to come off the board? Most people have CD as their Dynasty wide receiver 1. So does CD come off the board first? Or do the questions surrounding like a contract affect that a little bit? Are some people now a little bit worried? Kev, what up, Kev? No, the reason I do 10:15 is because we go live at 10. And number one, I just, like to say what's up to everybody, see how everybody's doing, answer any questions people have, trades, see what's going on before we get into the mock. And but yeah, that's why I do that. And on top of that, there's usually like 1 or 2 spots that are still open. And so, whoever gets in here has a chance to hop in. There goes JJ at the 1-5. So JJ is the first wide receiver off the board. Dak was QB2 in formats we played in last year, next to only Josh Allen. Yeah, I think in most formats he was like QB3 or 4, something like that. So yeah, he was awesome from a production perspective. So does that continue this year? Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 1-6. Okay, Zach. Going St. Brown over CD and over Chase. What is the reasoning to have Amon-Ra over those guys? Now, it's the same tier for me, so it doesn't really matter how you want to do 1 through 4, honestly, because St. Brown deserves to be there. But what makes you go with him over a guy like CeeDee Lamb, who just had a amazing season, and it doesn't look like much has changed. Much is going to change. If you've got Dak still there, like they haven't really got anybody offensively that's going to change where the targets are going to go. Like they moved CeeDee Lamb around last year. They lined him up in the slot. They moved him all over, and that just helped him excel. We saw that with Justin Jefferson. He's been moving inside and outside the formation. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he hasn't been only just a slot guy. He's been playing outside too. And then, that's what they're going to be. That's what they're doing with Chase as well. Hurts was QB3 last year, being able to get the second and third QB of last year. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Hurts, they say it wasn't a great season. Like the Eagles didn't play a great season. Like they obviously fell off in the second half, but Jalen Hurts still being able to finish, QB2 there. Okay, so Joe Burrow goes there. I was about to say, there's no way. So we've got Caleb, we've got Anthony Richardson, we got Jordan Love on the board. Like, I don't know who to go with. Like, I can go back-to-back quarterbacks here. I mean, I'm going to have to go quarterback, but who do I want to take here? Is it Caleb? Is it A-Rich? Is it Jordan Love? Like, who? What do I do here? What do I do here? Since the receivers are gone, I'm going to, well, you still got Marvin up there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Jordan Love because I think Jordan Love should start going in like the beginning of the second here. But I don't really want to choose between Caleb and Anthony Richardson. And I'll take kind of either. So I'm actually going to go with Jordan Love here. I could argue Kyler Murray too. But I'm going to go with Jordan Love here. See what Darth does here with his 2 picks. Because now, like, we could go Marvin. He goes A-Rich. And McCaffrey. Wow. Okay. So now we've got Caleb or we've got Kyler. I'm looking at QB here. I mean, the top 4 wide receivers are gone. Marvin is, I could argue here as well and just wait on QB since a bunch of QBs fell. But I feel like if I can get a top guy like a Caleb or a Kyler, like I have to, like I want to do that. Obviously Caleb is a rookie coming in, I think I'm just gonna go Kyler. So we're gonna go Jordan Love and Kyler at QB right off the bat, just locking up the QBs. But yeah, Lamar going at the 1-7. Some wide receivers going before Lamar. Yeah, I missed y'all too last week, Kev. It was my sister's high school graduation out in New York. So I flew out there and then my flight back actually got delayed. So I didn't get home in time. I got home late that night. So had to miss the show last week. Good win now, turned down in a couple leagues. Yeah. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay. So Caleb and Herbert go next. Marvin goes right after. I took Kyler. Yeah, Dak is only 30. I mean, but for QBs, like right, they can last a little bit longer. But the way that the community views these guys sometimes it's just different, and you've got to you know, use that as an advantage or just be careful because some guys might not want Dak, even though he's putting up numbers. People still don't want him. I'd go Caleb. I was thinking about going Caleb, but I just wanted to go for the sure thing. I go for the upside in Kyler. He's got the rushing upside. He got some offensive weapons now, so Dak is a good play. Yeah. No, for sure. Dak could play till he's 40. You never know. Amon-Ra won me a lot of championships last year. Yeah. I've got Amon-Ra on a ton of teams that I drafted, either that his rookie season or that the second season he had because nobody really believed in him yet. People were still thinking it was fluky because, Hawkinson was hurt and Swift was hurt. And so he was like easy to attain and cheap to get. So if you got him at the right time, then you lucked out. So Dak goes at the 2-6, Purdy goes at the 2-7. I mean, QBs are going right now a little bit. Some of these guys have been dropping a little bit later, like Dak, Purdy. I mean, Jaden Daniels is still here, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Golf, McCarthy, and it's a third round reversal, so there goes Puka, Bijan, T-Law. So Mahomes, T-Law for Marty, St. Brown, Purdy for Zach, JJ, Bijan, Herbert, CeeDee Lamb, Chase, Caleb, Burrow, Harrison, the Love, Kyler, the A-Rich, CMC. Let's see what Raider Rob does here with CJ Stroud as his QB. Because now don't forget, like when you're picking in the front, now you've got to wait a whole nother round because it's third round reversal. So, sometimes you might have to reach a little bit for a player. Jaden Daniels. Okay, I like it. CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels. Would you trade Purdy for a Dak in Dynasty? They're literally kind of back to back. I mean, Purdy's younger. Obviously, he's going to be in that offense forever. He'll get the contract eventually. You could hold on. I'm about to pick here. Okay, Cheetah. Darth goes Cheetah. So like Tua, Golf, McCarthy. Like I could go QB here if I wanted and just hold on to 3 QBs. And then just use that as kind of, bait. But I mean, look, AJ Brown is still up here. Malik Neighbors is still up here. There's still 2 top receivers here. I'm gonna go with AJ Brown. Let's just go with the sure thing. And Neighbors I love too, but AJ Brown and Neighbors kind of back to back for me. I'll take the win now in AJ Brown after going with Love and Murray. But I could have went Young, could have went Neighbors there. That would have been the next option. Or take one of the QBs. But being that there's so many on the board, I'm just going to take the wide receiver after taking the 2 QBs. I'd take Purdy over Dak. Is it just because of the age? I mean, I think Dak has a higher ceiling, right, than what Purdy does. So if you're looking for ceiling for sure. but they're kind of back to back for me, and they went back to back here in the draft. So that just I think for the most part they're pretty close even. It's just that Purdy is younger. That's really all. It's really all that it is. So if you're looking for the points, you take Dak. If you're looking for the, I guess, community value, like people would want Purdy, as a trade chip, like Purdy's value, especially after he gets a contract, like people might want that more than Dak just because of his age. I'm scared Purdy's not what he think he is. Yeah, I mean, listen, I, I mean, he's in the perfect system. Like he's not great, but he does what that system needs him to do, what they ask of him. He does those things to a high level. Like I mean, we can't discredit that really anymore. I think we all know, I think most people know now and understand like he's not elite, but he's good enough to kind of to get you there, but he's not going to win it for you. Purdy could be a sell high, yeah. If you wanna move off and get he's one of those guys. If you want to move off and get Dak plus, get Tua plus, get Jared Goff plus, like you can do that for sure. Especially if you got questions, if you got questions about CD. Do I got this on 1 minute clock or what do I got this on? Oh yeah, it is on 1 minute. All right. So Laporta McBride go. It's a 1.5 tight end premium. So it's not 1.75, it's 1.5. And Laporta McBride go at the 3.637. Olave, London, Pittman, Ayuk, Devonta Smith. Tua goes next. So UNC at that one, Allen, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, Tua. I like it. You get, two nice wide receivers, two quarterbacks, especially to a 49ers fan. So Saquon goes next, and then Jalen Waddle. So Marty goes with Pittman and Waddle, ready to rob Ayuk and Barkley after Stroud and Jaden Daniels. So with Hurts, Puka, and London, what does he do here? I think that Olave goes at the 3.8. Like he's value, and he was on the sell high video. He was on the sell high that we did because he's just valued so high, but he's not giving you the production. He's a guy that you can move off to tear down. London, Pittman, Ayuk, Devonta. All right, Golf goes next. So Hurts and Golf to go with Puka and London. I like it. ETN, Zay Flowers. Okay, so Purdy, McBride, Zay Flowers, and Amon-Ra for Zach. Let's see what Xavier does here with Lamar and Dak. He goes Laporta and JT. Okay, going with the RB. There goes Nico. Okay. So Nico at the 4.8. I mean, that's a good price for Nico. It's not the third. It's not even early fourth. You're getting him in the late fourth. Like I like him over Zay. Him and Waddle are kind of even. Like I don't mind taking him at the 3-4 turn. And it's my pick here. So there goes McCarthy and Odunze. Drake May, Bryce Young, Kirk, Baker, Deshaun Watson, Bo Nix. These guys still on the board. RBs, Kyron, Achan, Kenneth Walker, Jacobs, Rashad White, Pacheco. Wide receivers, we got DJ Moore, DK, T. Higgins, Tank Dell. So we still got some wide receivers here. We're going with DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, or T. Higgins. They're relatively all pretty close for me. I'm gonna go with T. And there goes DK and Tank Dell. Good. I was thinking about going Dell on the comeback there, but DJ Moore's still here. Like, so I mean, I can snag DJ Moore here. Or yeah, I mean, I think this might have to be DJ Moore here. Let's go DJ Moore. We're gonna go DJ Moore. So we got AJ Brown, T. Higgins, and DJ Moore at wide receiver. Kyron goes right after. So Cheetah, Metcalf, and Dell to go with A-Rich and CMC for Darth. Burrow, Marvin, Gibbs, Odunze, Kyron. Chase, Caleb, Neighbors, McCarthy, Bowers. So, I mean, Camel for life. Going with the young guys. Going with some rookies here. There goes Kincaid. So after Nico, he goes Kincaid. I like that. George Pickens. So quarterbacks went pretty early here. I don't see anything like that jumps out. I mean, CMC maybe at that 2-1. You probably don't see that often, but I mean, that guy's a alien. I mean, how much longer is he going to play? I mean, we've been saying the same thing for Derrick Henry for the past 3 years. And he still is rumbling. So, but yeah, he was the first running back taken off the board there. AJ Brown falling to the 3-2. Like, I don't know. I felt like that was like I had to pick him there. So there goes Andrews and Hawkinson. Okay, so they're getting the tight ends here. I wound up going wide receiver instead of tight end. I was gonna take a tight end, but being that all those guys were still on the board, like I had the choice between all, Bowers, Kincaid, Andrews, Hawkinson. I was like, I'll take one of those guys if they fall back, but I'll just take the wide receiver for now. I mean, the 1.5 tight end premium, it's not like 1.75 means a lot more. So like I'm willing to wait in the 1.5. It's not as much of a difference maker unless like you really have one of those top guys. So I could have went Kincaid there, and maybe I should have, but I'm happy with where I'm at right now. AJT, DJ Moore. So I mean the wide receiver room is looking good. There goes Pitts. So a run on tight ends here. Travis Kelce, Pacheco, Addison. Some of the younger quarterbacks still available, some of the older quarterbacks. So there's still some guys out here, running backs out here. We're in the 6th round right now. So we got plenty of choices to go from here when we're up. There goes James Cook, Debo Samuel, Rashid Rice. There goes JSN and Josh Jacobs. I was thinking of possibly JSN there. Wide receivers, Devontae Diggs, Evans, Reed. I mean, what do we do here now with AJ Brown, Higgins, and Moore? What do we do? Do we go with a vet like Mike Evans? Do we go with some upside, Jaden Reed, Keon Coleman type? We go with Amari Cooper. We go with some upside. I feel like, and I don't know, maybe this is me. I feel like Jonathan Brooks is almost a steal here in the sixth. Like I've seen him go a lot earlier than the sixth. And then we have another pick coming up, so we can still go grab out another wide receiver and or running back. There goes Henry. Yeah, Henry was a thought too. Why Henry is so like extremely low, I don't understand. Because most of these guys, running backs, we can't really project out more than a year. Like it's almost a yearly game for a lot of these guys. It's only the top, 4 or 5 guys that you can really feel comfortable about with the running back, like Rashard White, Swift, Joe Mixon, Benson, Stevenson. Like there's still a lot of good guys at the running back position here, and we're in the seventh. And I don't like drafting running backs, but I feel like Rashard White even right here. It's just really late. I'm getting them in the 6th and 7th round. Like I'm okay with that. Said Camel's draft would either be a first place team for years or an awful team. Where's Camel at? Yeah, right. I mean, he's going with that young upside, so he's planning on not winning obviously the first year, and he could even. I mean, if guys produce, you never know, but he's building the team, just going after the young guys. It's a strategy that you can use and Chase Neighbors, JSN. I mean, obviously there's a ton of risk to go along with that, but if all works out, like with all these guys' talent, I mean, Neighbors, JSN, if Trey Benson's able to take over eventually, I mean, Connor's, 1 year left there. What are they going to do after that? But Drake May goes, Bryce Young goes, Jaden Reed, Keon Coleman, DeAndre Swift. Yeah, I feel like I've got a good core of wide receivers for the next few years that have value as well. I was able to lock up the 2 QBs. I was able to get, 2 decently young running backs. And Brooks, a guy that can increase in value or at least hold his value, even with not a great season, because we have that excuse built in with the injury with him. Rashard White's been dropping a lot just because they said they want to give some touches away, but I mean, they didn't really get anybody that's scaring me away from Rashard White. I mean, Bucky Irving, maybe he takes a couple passes away, maybe he takes a couple runs, gives Rashard White a breather so he can be a little bit more efficient. So I like the price of him. Like, and again, I don't like running backs, but the price right now and where you're able to get him, I feel like that it's a good price here, round 6 and 7. I mean, you guys let me know. Mixon Stevenson goes after Swift, Stephon Diggs. Aaron Jones, okay. So with Wilson, Devonta, Brian Thomas, and Mike Evans. Raider Rob with the CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels, Ayuk, Worthy, McConkey, and Diggs. So he's got some young guys, some potential, and then filling it in with some vets with Diggs and Monty. So running backs flying off the board now. There goes Scary Terry as the wide receiver 3 for Marty after he goes Pacheco and Stevenson after Hawkinson, who may miss half of the season. Diaz, what up, Diaz? Good price. Yeah, I feel that. I mean, Diaz, I mean, you know I hate running backs, bro. I got Brooks and White in the 6th and 7th. I felt like that was good. I felt like that was a good bargain for the price. And I never take running backs, but so Christian Kirk, okay. Christian Kirk going in the season, I think a little bit underrated right now. People are sleeping a little bit on Christian Kirk. Amari Cooper too. Amari Cooper, that's a good pick, Xavier. I mean, Amari Cooper could finish as a wide receiver 1 this year. Zamir White. Okay, Zach. Achan, Cook, and White. Cooper Cup in the 8th. At the 8-8 Cooper Cup. Can Cooper Cup stay healthy all season? You know, if he stays healthy, like Puka's numbers, do those go down? Right? I think when Cup was back, like Puka averaged like 17 points per game at that point after Cup came back, which is still great, but it wasn't, the 20 plus that he was giving us before Cup was there. Christian Watson, George Kittle. So there's still running backs: Pearsall, Leggett, Godwin, Ridley, Hollywood. Still some wide receivers out here too. Let's go. Who do we go with here? Do we go with? Well, I feel like. All right. I feel like I want to take Deshaun Watson in the 8th as my 3rd QB. There goes Will Levis. So Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. Darth goes here. Okay. And Leggett. So now back to me. And what are we doing? Are we going young? Are we going with the upside? Are we going with just solid production? Do we go Pearsall, Godwin, or Hollywood Brown? Deontay. What do we go with here? Do we take just the upside play in Pearsall, wait for the trade to happen, or one of those guys to not sign and then be able to move Pearsall? Or do we go with Godwin, who's apparently going to play a lot more in the slot this year? For a win now team like, Calvin Ridley, or do we go Hollywood Brown, who's on the 1-year deal with Kansas City? I don't know what to do. I'm going to go Pearsall. I'm just gonna play the upside play and hope for the market to like Pearsall at some point, um, to where I can move him. So Javonte goes next. Yeah, I was thinking Godwin. I was possibly gonna go with Godwin, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just take Pearsall. But I could have went Godwin or Johnson for sure. Najee goes. Baker goes. Bo Nix. There goes Deontay. There goes Kamara. Yeah, I was wondering when Kamara was going to go. And what was I saying about running backs before? Right? We can't really project out more than what, 1-2 years? I mean, how much more can we project out for any of these running backs? Pacheco, Mixon, Cook, Jacobs, like all of these guys. I mean, how can we really project more? Even ETN, Saquon, Kyron. I mean, other than the Gibbs, Brees, and Bijan, or JT, how many can we really say are going to make it another 3 years? Right? So I feel like in that same time that most of these guys span is going to be, like Derrick Henry's still going to be playing the 1 to 2 years. So Ridley, Godwin, there goes Ferguson, there goes Hollywood as the wide receiver, what, 5 for UNC over here. I'm surprised you went Aaron Jones, honestly, over Monty, White, Kamara, Najee. I mean, I like Jones, but he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. Like, that's his biggest problem. He just has not been able to stay healthy. I give up on preaching about these running backs, right? That's not... uh, Jalen Warren. Let's see what Raider Rob does here. Let's just see what we got left on the board. Ain't much left, at least at wide receiver. Tight end. I mean, there's still plenty of options at tight end. Running back, you still got some RB2s up here. Rodgers, Geno. I mean, there's still some quarterbacks, decent quarterbacks up here too. Older guys left, so let's see what comes back here. So there goes Stafford. There goes Mitchell. Don't get me started on the tight ends. Bro, I know. So many people just have excess tight ends on their teams, not even tight end premiums, and like we're hoarding tight ends, wanting to start them in the flex. That's just not the way to go. You know, you don't need a bunch of tight ends on your bench. You don't. TD, good pick. I was thinking about I was going to take Penix if he made it back to me. Yep, that was a good pick. All right. Okay. We got Polk, Franklin, Downs, Judy, Dotson, Dubes, Wilson, Hopkins. Damn. Here's Jacoby, my boy Burton down here. Mm. Damn, I don't even know what to where to go here. Do we just take fucking Joku and call it a day? Let's take Joku real quick. And then what do we do? I don't like any of this over here. I don't like any of it. And we got a long way to come back to us too. Do we have to reach a little bit for a guy that I want? Or yeah, I mean, this is just tough at this point. Like I don't want to pick any of these guys. How about we do fuck it. Time's about to run out. I'm gonna take Blake since everybody loves him. But there's a couple other guys. Yeah, Jermaine Burton. I was gonna go with him if he wasn't taken. Too. That was a good pick, Darth, my boy Burton. I was wondering, I was like, there's somebody missing that I was thinking about taking there. Jerome Ford, yeah, he's probably there. He hasn't been taken yet. No, he's still there. I mean, we're only doing 13 rounds. We got, two more rounds in here. Josh Downs, James Conner, there goes Dubes. Komet. So TD with 4 quarterbacks goes Herbert, Young, Mayfield, and Penix with CD, Nico, Rashi Rice, Cooper Cup. I like it. Kincaid. That's a good draft, TD. Lamar, Dak, Laporta, JT, and then Pickens, Debo, Jaden Reed, Amari Cooper. Okay. I like that squad too, Xavier. And then goes with Knicks down here, so gets the extra quarterback. Got Ingram as well to go with Laporta. Zach, St. Brown, Purdy, McBride, Flowers, Achan, Cook, Coleman, Zamir, Deontay, Justin Fields, Brian Robinson. Oh, Justin Fields, that's going to be rough. I mean, you don't have a certified QB2 right now unless there's somebody, unless you're planning on taking Geno or Derek Carr, Russell Wilson type guys down here. Mook, JJ, Olave, Bijan, ETN, Kenny Walker. We only got Kirk Cousins at QB. That's a problem. It's on auto. Hurts, Puka, London to go with Golf, Andrews, Addison, Mixon, Kirk, Ridley. Okay, I like that squad too. Pollard, Zach Moss. There's just so much like production that you can get from these guys down here. I mean, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, Tajay Spears, like. So Marty with Mahomes, T. Law, Pittman, Waddle, Hawkinson, Pacheco, Stevenson, McLaurin, Godwin, Mitchell. So take some vets in between. I like that. Singletary, Stroud, JD, Ayuk, Barkley, Worthy, McConkey, Diggs, Monty, Ferguson, Stafford, and Eckler. So it goes with the third QB in Stafford. I like that. Okay. And UNC fan with the 2 QBs. Okay. Evans, Hollywood, Hopkins. So getting some veteran production right now and then grabbing some RBs. I see that. Okay. It's my take on the Browns backfield. I mean, that's it. That we can make a whole show on the Browns backfield, and I don't understand why so many people are just in love with Nick Chubb still. I mean, I just don't get it. We don't even know if he's going to be ready for the season now. He's not coming in and they're just handing him 20, 25 carries like he used to. I don't think that is in the cards. Like, that's a very low possibility. Like, do you think that team is just going to be like, okay, you're back here, take 20, 25 carries on, you know, your fucked up knee? Like, I don't think that's happening. So for me, I think Jerome Ford is probably, he's the safest. If Nick Chubb ever does play, if he does, I mean, he's going to be just a part of the backfield. So I like Jerome Ford. I like the price. I mean, but people are still on this Nick Chubb. Chubb is done. I figured Chubb is done. I mean, did he actually come out and say that he's actually done? Was any of the latest news? I know they like restructured his contract. Yeah, I know they restructured his contracts. I mean, he's 29 years old. Like, he's got A lot of tread on the tires, man. Is a second round an overpay for Ford? No, I wouldn't say it's an overpay. What's the format though? I mean, I wouldn't necessarily do it now. Like it's not like even if Chubb doesn't play, like Ford is going to cost you some first round pick during the season. Like he's going to be worth the same thing later. So I wouldn't necessarily buy him right now. Like let's wait till the season happens. Let's see who's healthy, when you're really going to need him. Like you don't need to do that right now. Speaking of Chubb, there goes Chubb off the board. Jeez. All right, so D Hop, Myers, Judy, Wicks, Polk are the wide receivers that go off the board. I still need some wide receivers. And there's still, some young guys up here, right? Troy Franklin, Jahan Dotson, Quentin Johnson. I've taken like Pearsall already, but I think I kind of need some points. I'm gonna come down here. I'm taking my boy Curtis Samuel, who for me I think is gonna be like the wide receiver one. Well, other than Kincaid, like he's the wide receiver that's going to, give you some good production there. And then what do we do on the comeback here? Kendrick Miller, Geno Smith go. Now can we take another young wide receiver, shoot for the upside? Like that's what we're kind of hoping for in these ranges now is we're just trying to take something with upside, something that's going to gain some value. Like if I want points, I could take Joshua Palmer actually too, but we're not going to do that. I'm just seeing who else is down here. All right. So let's take a shot on one of these guys, right? Is it going to be Troy Franklin, who is going to Denver now, fell in the draft a little bit, playing with his quarterback? Do we go with Jahan Dotson, where, things are kind of heating up in Washington with Jaden Daniels? But, I mean, he is wide receiver 2 right now. Like, they're talking about possibly trying to get Ayuk. So, like, what is Dotson or what can he be? I mean, I don't know. Do we go with a Khalil Shakir? I'm just going to go with Troy Franklin. And I'm not looking for like Troy Franklin to hit as some kind of wide receiver one. No, I'm just looking for that point in time during the season where he has a good game or good stretch of games and somebody believes he's the next big thing. How can I move him at that point, right? When the value goes up or when the perceived value goes up, when the community just likes him after week 1, when, Sutton goes down and Franklin is basically like the number 1 guy there. All I need is someone to believe that he is going to be some kind of wide receiver 2 for the next few years. And can you use that value to cheer up? Oh, we didn't come out and say that. We just figured that. No, there's a lot of people who still want Nick Chubb or have Nick Chubb on their squad. Like, we're drafting Nick Chubb. Like, we should not be drafting Nick Chubb. Don't ever draft Nick Chubb. There's no point. McKeon Coleman truer, when no one believes in him, think he will shock a lot of people this year. What he does year number 1. I mean, it's not that I don't believe in him. It's more just the perception that he's just gonna walk into the Stephon Diggs role and command 150, 160 targets. Like, I think that for me at least, and for most people out there, like we understand or we know that Keon's not a true X wide receiver. Like he struggles in those areas, like press, getting off the ball, getting separation, on his routes. Like he struggles in some of these areas, man-to-man coverage, where like just forcing him into the X might not be the best thing for him to develop, or does he learn on the go? I mean, I think, there was I think coach was talking about Keon Coleman. I saw a clip and the coach was talking about it and he was saying how, he's a rookie and he's still learning like all the sets and what to do and this and that. Like he didn't necessarily like praise him. He kind of was saying like, all right, he's a rookie, like, temper your expectations. You've got veterans there like Curtis Samuel, You know, you've got Kincaid now in year 2, so you've got some guys there. And I just don't want to see like Keon Coleman. I just don't want to see him stunt his growth or not put in a position to succeed like we saw Quentin Johnson. Like Quentin Johnson was just not an X receiver at the NFL level. And they asked him to be Mike Williams, and he's not Mike Williams. And we've talked about this plenty of times on the channel. He doesn't have that skill set. He's not a down the field threat and catching bombs. That's not what he does. Get the ball in his hands. He's good after the catch. He's good short, cross routes, slants. Like, just get him on the move. And the best spot for him would be to play inside in the slot where, like, he doesn't have to face that press coverage that he's not good at, right? He doesn't have to separate as much against, like, real good defenders, where he doesn't have to just go deep and playing, running the 9 route. Like, that's not his strength. And so that's what we don't want to see with Keon Coleman. The same thing with Jonathan Mingo. They forced him to play X when he should be playing in the slot. And he was just unable to produce and unable to develop in the right way. And now he's just labeled as a bust. So I think that's the biggest thing, for Keon Coleman. Are they going to be able to, move him around and keep him out of some of those like press coverage, man-to-man situations? I think that's the biggest thing for Keon. And I like Keon, but I don't think that the Bills wouldn't go address the position again. If there was a wide receiver 1 that was available to get, I don't think they would hesitate to go get that receiver. Like, I don't think Keon Coleman is that receiver. So for that reason, like, at best case scenario for me, like, he's a wide receiver 2, which we know how big that tier of wide receiver 2s are. They're kind of just replaceable. So, do you want to take that bet on Keon Coleman or not? I mean, there's going to be a time during the season where you're going to be able to move off. He's going to have a big game or two. He's going to have big games. He's on the Bills. Like, he's playing with Josh Allen. So there will be a chance for you to kind of move off them if you need to. But I don't like to make all the bets on these players that they're going to be the wide receiver 2s. As soon as they're perceived or people think that they could be the wide receiver 2, that's when we want to move them, right? We want to move them at a value where it's high. We don't want to move them when the value is low. So there will be points in the season where you're going to be able to move these guys. Mystic said, rate the team at 1-7. You were Xavier. Yeah. I liked it, man. I talked about it. I don't know if you missed it or you could rewind, but I talked about your squad: Lamar, Dak, Laporta, JT, then going with Pickens, Debo, Jaden Reed, Amari Cooper. So you got some, decently young guys with some veteran production in there. Going with Laporta, you got JT, so you're at least set at running back. So I mean, you got Lamar at the 1-7. So I mean, that was awesome. Think Buffalo trades for Higgins or someone. Yeah, that's how I feel. Whether it's a trade or whether they sign somebody, I don't think that they're just not going to address the position again, and I don't think they're just going to say, yeah, well, we got Keon Coleman, so we don't need to worry about the wide receiver room. I don't think he's a difference maker wide receiver, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you're going to be able to take advantage of that value, whether it's now or during the season, for you to try and tear up. Robert, what up, Robert? Raider Rob in the building. What up, Raider Rob? It won't be that much, but he will be the X. Well, I don't know if it's best for him to be the X, like I said. But he could be. No, for sure. I'm not doubting that's not possible. I just don't want to make the bet on it. If they're not one of those elite guys, just take advantage. Use the advantage. Christian Watson last year, we were saying to sell him. He was, a top 20 dynasty wide receiver, right? George Pickens, same thing, because they're valued there. Like, take advantage. You don't have to make that bet every time. You're not going to get it right every time. But what you can get right is trading them at the right time, at that peak time, to capitalize and, minimize the risk on that player. Brian Thomas Jr. I like Brian Thomas Jr. Easy. Yep. I hope so, Derek. I hope so. Who do you think has the best draft? I mean, I kind of pretty much went over every team. Who did I not go over? I think I pretty much went over almost every team here. I mean, I'll talk about my strategy or why I did what I did, but being that I was able to get Jordan Love and Kyler as my top two QBs, AJ Brown, T. Higgins, DJ Moore. So got three kind of core wide receivers I can kind of build around, but they're also going to give me production at the same time. I never really go running back early, but I felt like Brooks and White in the 6th and 7th round were good values. So I wind up taking those guys there. And again, I don't have to necessarily, keep those guys, but it's more for the value perspective, right? We talked about Brooks a little bit earlier. He's a guy that even if he doesn't perform necessarily well this season, is still going to hold, good dynasty value because of how young he is, because of the injury. Um, Rashard White, I mean, finished as a top 10 guy last year, top 5, I think. And they only got Bucky Irving. Like there's not competition there. Not that they won't add competition maybe next year or the year after, but for this particular year, like it's Rashard White. Even if he gets a little bit less of the work, he's still going to give you top production. He might even be more efficient, which is what we're looking for. Took Deshaun Watson after that because I felt like that was just a good value. Getting him in the 8th round, he's my QB3. I'm looking for him to, have some good games, maybe hopefully return to form, or at least be a top 15-ish QB. Give me something, some kind of value that I can trade, maybe tier up at wide receiver or pick up another wide receiver eventually, right? Ricky Pearsall, I mean, we know what the value is going to do once any of those guys in San Fran gets moved. Wound up taking Joku in the 10th because that was kind of the last of the tight ends that I liked, really. Blake Corum, everybody loves Blake Corum. And of course, if Kyron goes down, I mean, Corum's getting all that work. They're just inserting the next guy. That's all they're doing. Curtis Samuel, again, probably going to have the most production as in Buffalo at the wide receiver position. And then taking some chance on Troy Franklin, just that he has some kind of window for me to move him or trade him. So my team's at the 1-6. I needed another QB. Zach, yeah, at 1-6. Yeah, you did. You did. You went with Purdy, but you waited and got Fields. We don't know what's happening with Fields. You can't you can't rely on that, and then Sam Darnold, who's probably the starting quarterback for at least the first half of the season. So yeah, I mean, you probably should have went quarterback in between here. Maybe instead of one of these running backs, I would have went quarterback. Like you could have took Bryce possibly in the 6th. I mean, you could have took Baker instead of Zamir White, Deshaun Watson. Like, you want to lock in the QB2 because again, it's hard to buy a quarterback in Superflex leagues. They're so valuable. They cost way too much. Rob, your draft. I talked about it earlier. Yeah, I mean, I love what you did. You got a good wide receivers, locked up the QBs early. Maybe I didn't love Saquon at the 4-2, but other than that, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's nobody really that did horrible in the draft. Everybody has a pretty good squad. Like, where they drafted particularly well. Like, I like the 1-1, 1-7, and 1-11 drafts. Yeah. I feel you, JC. I like that too. I mean, there's nothing crazy really. I mean, Penix in the 10th. Like, I would have took Penix if he made it back to me. Just to have the QB in the pocket, just to have basically that extra first round pick in your pocket. Because again, you don't have to play a game, but once Kirk gets hurt or they're moving on from Kirk at whatever point in time that is, that value is just going to go up and you're going to be able to move him for something. And if he's your QB3, QB4, like QB5, I mean, now you got some value to move. Gorder was the last pick. Yeah, he was. I mean, dude can never stay healthy, though. I mean, guy can never played a full season once in his career, his rookie year. Other than that, he's always missed at least a few games. And he's never finished as a top 10 guy either. Well, he finished 10th once. But other than that, I mean, hasn't finished in the top 9. Not one season. You do have AJ Brown. You do have Devonta Smith. You do have Saquon now, so you got plenty of guys like for the ball to go to. So Goddard about to be 30 years old too. I mean, he's a good value down there. Like you already have a tight end, so if that's your backup, I mean, that's fine. I just don't know how I feel about Goddard just in general. I don't have any shares of him. Bogey, what up, Bogey? But yeah, I mean, that pretty much does it. Drop any questions you guys have in the chat before I get up out of here. But I mean, yeah, it was a good draft. I mean, I like a lot of the teams. Like obviously, there's different ways that you can draft, but from the spots that people were in, I mean, quarterbacks went pretty early, which I'm kind of seeing them go a little bit later. Like Dak, Purdy, like these guys sometimes are not even going in the second round. You know, Trevor Lawrence, like sometimes these guys are not even going in the second round, but they went here. Wide receivers, I mean, getting AJ Brown in the third, I mean, he's been falling to the third in drafts because of quarterbacks and other wide receivers that people are taking. But I felt like it was also like it was a great deal get him in the third. I mean, JJ McCarthy at the 4-9, I felt like that maybe was a little early, but at the same time, he's kind of the next after golf. Like it's kind of Bryce Young, JJ McCarthy. Like who are you taking there? Drake May, Deshaun Watson, McBride, and Laporta in the third in a 1.5. It's not crazy early. Like it's okay. I mean, I would have liked it more if you got him there at a 1.75 tight end premium. At a 1.5, I guess maybe it's like a round for me, maybe a round early. I don't know if I'd mind taking him in that fourth, but I feel like that could be a round early. What do you guys think about it? Even in a 1.5? Because in a 1.75, I mean, Trey McBride was basically like wide receiver 3 in points. He's probably more of like a top 24 wide receiver in 1.5. Yeah, Wicks. I mean, who's the guy? Like, who's the guy, JC? You know, who is the guy? Like, which one is it? You know, everybody loves Wicks. Like, now's the perfect time to get off Wicks, you know, if you have him. Can you capitalize on what everybody's talking about and come off of Wicks while the value is there right now? Because, again, you're going to make the bet on Wicks if Watson stays healthy and Jaden Reed. Obviously, we know he's good. So what it like, you know, what's the ceiling? You know, so if you have somebody that likes Wicks, I think now's a good chance to, you know, to try and move off or tear up. Emil said, if I package Devontae in a fourth, who should I look to buy? I mean, it's not even about who you should look to buy. What you need to do is look to see who needs a Devontae Adams. So you need to find a team that's competing, a good team, and see what's on their team. What young wide receivers are on their team that maybe you can make a swap for. Or what picks maybe do they have that maybe you can just cash out, you know? You know, who doesn't value like their picks as much? Can you send like Devontae Adams and a third for a first, or can you send Devontae Adams plus for a first? It's gonna be hard to get a first just for Devontae Adams, so you're gonna have to add a little something. Even if you got to send a second to get a first, if you're competing. I mean, if you're not competing, I probably don't want to give up the second because it would be an early second. But can you give up something else? Can you give up 2/3? Can you give up a third and a piece for you to just try and get that first? Yeah, appreciate you, Robert. Appreciate you. First time I take a 10 in and 1.5 is the end of the third, start of the fourth. Yeah, I feel like the 3.6, 3.7 was a little bit early on the 0.5. I was thinking more of like in the fourth round area. But that's all really. I mean, I feel like Aaron Jones maybe went a little bit early compared to some of the guys that were still left. But yeah, I mean, it starts to get ugly in these like double digit rounds. Like after round 12, like it starts getting ugly. But yeah, throw any last second questions y'all got in the chat before I get up out of here. Appreciate everybody for coming out. Appreciate everybody who participated in the mock draft. And we will be on next Tuesday. I think next week I'm doing next week I'll either do sells or I'll do quarterback rankings. Either or, but that will be for the next 2 weeks. That will be the next 2 weeks. Is Jones that early as QB? Darnold as a rookie should get a lot of production and check. Well, it's not really only about the production. Like he just hasn't been able to stay healthy. So like he's a risk at that, and he's just worth nothing. Like nobody's willing to pay you anything for Aaron Jones. Like instead of Aaron Jones, like I'd rather have Monty. I'd rather have Zamir White. I'd rather have Najee. Javante, I mean, that's questionable, but I'd rather have Kamara. I'd rather have Tony Pollard. You know, I'd rather just not take Jones and take a Devin Singletary. Like, you know, Zach Moss, Tajay Spears, Brian Robinson, James Conner. Like, I'll take Blake Corum. I'll take all of those guys over Aaron Jones. You know, because you could have waited and took any of those other guys and got, you know, the same. What's the chances that Aaron Jones is going to stay healthy the whole season? And it's not like Minnesota's RB was scoring a bunch of points anyway. Like, you know, they're throwing the ball a ton. Do they want to run more a little bit? Maybe. Maybe. But are we really trusting Aaron Jones, who was not healthy in 2023, was healthy in 2022, but he's almost 30 now. You know, and he's always banged up. He's not catching. He's not. I don't know if he's catching 50, 60 balls out of the backfield. Like, there's just questions about Aaron Jones. And again, for the most part, he's just not really worth anything. Like, nobody wants him. Yeah, health is definitely a concern. Health is for sure a concern. When he's healthy, he's awesome. Like, don't get me wrong. But to take him in a dynasty startup where he's kind of just more of a waste of a pick. You know what I mean? Because he's just not really doing anything for you and doesn't really have like any value. Like he's the guy that you want to buy like in season, you know, for a later round pick if he's healthy, you know. I'd rather wait and then buy him when I know he's healthy because it's not like he's gonna cost more, you know. Yeah, I feel you, JC. I feel you. I mean, like I built my team a little bit different in this mock too, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It didn't turn out that bad. So I like it. But all right, guys, I'm gonna get up out of here. I will see y'all next week, Tuesday night at 10. And appreciate everybody out there. Smash that like for me. Smash that subscribe if you're new. Love the love pick. Yeah, of course you do, JC. Of course you do. But I think that's where he's going to go pretty much. Back end first round, like early second round. I think that's kind of where maybe he should be. Like, you know, is it Caleb after that? Like, or does Caleb go before that? I think those are all legit questions. But once again, I'm out. I'll see y'all next week. Appreciate everybody. Peace.